Welcome to Cheat Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. She left on a Friday morning with a kiss on my cheek and a smile that looked completely real. She came back Sunday night with that same smile, same energy, same ease, same absolute confidence that I didn't know a thing. She was wrong. And by the time she walked through that door, everything was already over. Her name was Sandra. And 3 years of building a life together, an apartment, a future, a wedding 2 weeks away, had come down to a 10-second Instagram story and a caption I was never supposed to see. But let me start at the beginning. Sandra left that Friday for her bachelorette party. A beach town a few hours away, her friends, her weekend, her send-off before we got married. I stayed home. I had work to finish, and honestly, that kind of trip was never my thing. I kissed her goodbye, watched her load her bag into the car, and told her to try not to burn the place down. She laughed. That was the last normal moment between us. Friday night I ordered food, opened my laptop, tried to work. Around midnight I leaned back on the couch and started scrolling through Instagram. The mindless, half-asleep kind of scrolling you do when you're tired but not quite ready to sleep. That's when I saw it. A story from Chloe Bennett. One of Sandra's friends, loud, always drinking too much, never quite knowing when to stop talking. The photo showed all of them at a bar. Drinks everywhere. Sandra in the middle, smiling, arm around someone just out of frame. Normal at first glance. Then I read the caption. Last night with her side guy before she locks down Martin. I didn't blink. I read it again. Slower this time, the way you reread something when your brain is refusing to process what your eyes are clearly seeing. Same words. My hand moved before I even decided to move it. Screenshot. I refreshed the story. Gone. Maybe 10 seconds total. But it was enough. Sunday evening, Sandra came home. Same smile. Same energy. Like nothing had happened anywhere, to anyone, at any point over the weekend. She dropped her bag by the door, kicked off her shoes, and said, "You wouldn't believe this weekend." "I probably would," I replied. She paused for half a second, just long enough to notice, then smiled again. "Missed you." I looked at her. Steady. "Yeah," I said. "I'm sure you did." She moved around the apartment like she owned the air in it, talking about the trip, laughing at small things, showing me photos from her phone, rooftop bars, group shots, the easy evidence of a fun weekend with the girls. "Look at this one," she said, holding up her phone. "We found this rooftop bar. It was insane." I glanced at it. Group photo. Same friends, same energy. Nothing unusual on the surface. "Looks crowded," I said. It was. "We barely got in." I nodded, watching her more than the screen. She was relaxed. Completely, entirely relaxed. No hesitation. No careful wording. No sign that she thought anything was wrong. And that told me everything. If the caption had been a joke, she would have mentioned it. If Chloe had made a mistake, Sandra would have gotten ahead of it, laughed it off, explained it before I could even ask. Instead, she said nothing. That wasn't an accident. That was confidence. The specific, settled confidence of a woman who believed the evidence had disappeared before anyone important could see it. She was wrong about that too. Later that night, Sandra went to shower. I sat on the couch, opened my laptop, and pulled up the screenshot. Zoomed in. Read it slowly, like I was reviewing a contract. Last night with her side guy before she locks down Martin. Not vague. Not playful. Specific. I checked Chloe's account. Clean. Like it had never existed. Then I started reviewing Sandra. Not her phone. Her patterns. The last few months ran through my mind in sequence. Late work nights. Weekends with friends. Time she'd said she needed space before the wedding because she felt overwhelmed. At the time, all of it had sounded reasonable. Now, none of it did. I opened our shared wedding folder. Everything was there. Contracts. Payments. Confirmations. I had covered most of it. Venue, catering, band, photography. Sandra had handled the smaller details. Decorations. Invitations. Things that didn't carry financial weight. I opened my banking app. Reviewed the transactions. Nothing surprising. Just confirmation of what I already knew about who had built what. I leaned back and made a decision. I wasn't going to sit across from her and listen to explanations. I wasn't going to ask questions that would just generate better lies. If she had been with another man, even once, the wedding was already over. The only question was how clean I wanted the exit to be. She walked back into the room, towel around her hair. "You're quiet," she said. "Just thinking," I replied. "About what?" I closed the laptop slowly. "Logistics," I said. She smiled like that made complete sense. "You and your planning." "Yeah," I said, standing up. "Something like that." I already knew exactly what I was doing next. I just hadn't told her yet. Sandra left early Monday morning. Quick kiss, same as always. "Don't forget, we're meeting the caterer Wednesday," she said. "I won't," I replied. I watched her walk out. The second the door closed, I got to work. I opened the wedding folder and started with the venue. "Hi, this is Martin Cole. I need to cancel my event scheduled for the 18th. A pause. "Is everything all right, sir?" "No," I said. "It's not." "What are the cancellation terms?" They explained. "Deposit gone. Additional fees depending on timing." I told them to send me the final numbers and that I'd settle it today. Then the caterer. Then the band. Then the photographer. The same conversation, 4 times over. I didn't argue. I didn't negotiate. I just followed the contracts I had already signed and I paid what I owed. By noon, everything was in motion. By mid-afternoon, the wedding didn't exist anymore. I sat back in my chair and looked at the numbers. It wasn't cheap, but it was final, and that mattered more than the cost. Around 5 o'clock, I opened Instagram. I pulled up the screenshot, looked at it one more time, and made the post. No long explanation. No emotional speech. No paragraph of context. Just the image, and one line underneath it. "This is why the wedding is off. Ask Sandra if you need details." I tagged her. Tagged the people I knew would have been at that wedding. Family, friends, people who had RSVP'd and bought dresses and booked flights. No hiding it. No softening it. Just the truth, public and permanent. Then I turned my phone completely off. No vibration. No notifications. No noise. And I waited. Sandra came home around 7. "Hey," she called out, dropping her keys. "You won't believe the day I..." She stopped when she saw me sitting there. "You okay?" she asked. "I'm good," I said. She studied me for a second, something in my tone not quite matching. "You sure?" "Yeah," I said. "Just tired." She nodded slowly, moved to set her bag down. And then her phone buzzed. Then again. She picked it up, frowned, unlocked it. I watched her face change in real time. Confusion first. Then realization. Then panic. "What is this?" she asked, looking at me. "Martin, what did you do?" I stood up slowly. "I ended it," I said. Her voice tightened. "Over a story? That was a joke." I looked at her steady. "Then explain it." She stared at me like I'd said something unreasonable. "That post was a joke," she said again, firmer. "Chloe was drunk. She says stupid things. I didn't raise my voice." "Then why didn't you tell me?" She hesitated. "Just a second, just enough." "I didn't even see it," she said quickly. "It was up for what, 10 seconds?" "Long enough," I replied. Her phone kept buzzing. She ignored it now, focused entirely on me. "You went public with this. You didn't even talk to me first." "I didn't need to," I said. "The post did the talking." "That doesn't prove anything." "It proves enough." She let out a sharp breath. Paced a few steps. "You're blowing this completely out of proportion. It was a stupid caption." "That's it." I leaned against the table, arms crossed. "So there's no side guy? That's what you're saying?" "Of course not." "Say it clearly," I said. "No games. No wording tricks." She looked at me, annoyed. "There is no side guy, Martin. I held her gaze for a moment. Then I nodded once. Good, I said. Because I have a voicemail that says otherwise. That stopped her completely. What voicemail? From Chloe, I said. Around 3 in the morning. She sounded honest. Chloe had called a few hours after the post went up, sometime in the early hours, drunk and rambling, trying to clean up the mess she'd made. She'd said Sandra had spent time with some guy earlier that night. Said it wasn't serious, just something fun before the wedding. Then she'd started apologizing for posting it. Sandra's expression tightened. She was drunk, she snapped. She said it wasn't serious, I continued. Said it was just for fun. That doesn't mean anything. It means exactly what it sounds like. Silence stretched between us. Then her phone rang again. She looked at it. Answer it, I said. She didn't move. Answer it, I repeated. She picked up slowly and stepped a few feet away. I could still hear her clearly. Chloe, what did you say to him? A pause. No, that's not. Why would you say that? Another pause. Her shoulders dropped, just slightly. Just enough. Just stop talking, she said quietly. Then she hung up. She turned back to me. It's not what she made it sound like, she said. Then what is it? She opened her mouth. Closed it again. That's what I thought, I said. Her voice sharpened. You already cancelled everything, didn't you? Yes. All of it. All of it. She laughed once, short, disbelieving. You just threw away our entire wedding over this. I stepped closer, just enough to make the point clear. No, I said. You did. Sandra didn't leave that night. She stayed in the apartment, moving from room to room, making calls, whispering, arguing with people I couldn't see. I let her. I didn't engage again. There was nothing left to discuss. The next morning, I woke up early. She was already in the kitchen, sitting at the table, eyes red. We need to fix this, she said the moment she saw me. There's nothing to fix, I replied, pouring coffee. You're overreacting. You embarrassed me. My family is calling non-stop. My mother is in tears. That's not my problem, I said. It is when you made it public. I turned to face her. Did you or did you not spend time with another man that weekend? She pressed her lips together. It wasn't like that. That's not an answer. It was one night. Her voice snapped. And nothing really happened. I held her gaze. Define nothing. She looked away. We kissed, she said finally. That's it. I nodded slowly. We both know that's not it. It didn't mean anything, she said quickly. It was just the moment. Everyone was drinking. I made a mistake. A pause. I was going to tell you. I waited. She didn't finish the sentence. Exactly, I said. Then, a knock at the door. Loud. Repeated. Sandra stood up immediately. That's my mother. Don't open it, I said. She ignored me. The door swung open and Eleanor Whitmore stepped in without waiting, controlled, sharp, and already furious. She looked straight at me. What have you done? She demanded. Ended it, I said. You humiliated my daughter in front of everyone. Your daughter cheated. It was a mistake. I shook my head. No, I said. It was a decision. Sandra stepped between us. Mom, please. Eleanor cut her off. Do you have any idea how this looks? People are calling, asking questions. Then answer them honestly, I said. Her eyes narrowed. You will take that post down. No. You will fix this. No. Sandra grabbed my arm. Martin, stop. You're making this worse. I pulled my arm away. There is no worse, I said. This is the result. Eleanor's voice dropped colder. We have spent thousands on this wedding. So have I said. And I already handled it. She frowned. What do you mean? It's cancelled, I said. Everything. The silence that followed hit harder than anything else in that room. By the end of that week, it had moved beyond arguments. It had become strategy. Sandra left the apartment 2 days later. Took some of her things. Not all. Didn't say goodbye. Her mother handled most of the communication after that. And on Friday, I received an email. Formal. Clean. From a lawyer. They were demanding money, wedding expenses, the dress, family costs, events. Framed as damages caused by my public actions. I read it once. Then I forwarded it to James Carter. James and I had known each other for years. Litigation attorney, calm, precise, completely unimpressed by pressure or threats. He called me about 20 minutes later. I walked him through everything from the start. The post, the voicemail, what Sandra had admitted. He went quiet for a moment while he reviewed it. Then his response was simple. They were bluffing. There was no real case. If anything, he said, it looked like an attempt to pressure me into reversing the cancellations or paying money I didn't owe. He told me not to respond emotionally and to send him every piece of evidence I had. I sent him everything. The screenshot. The voicemail. A written summary of what Sandra had confirmed herself. He called back within the hour. Yeah, he said. This goes nowhere. I'll respond. That same night, Sandra made her own move. She posted. Not evidence, not facts, a story. She wrote about betrayal, about being publicly humiliated, about a private misunderstanding being turned into something cruel. She never denied anything directly. She just reframed everything. Softer language. More sympathetic angles. The careful work of someone managing a narrative. By morning, people were reacting. Messages came in, some supportive, some not. One said, "You didn't have to destroy her like that." I read it, then deleted it. Around noon, Sandra called from a new number. I answered. "Take the post down," she said immediately. "No. You're ruining my life. You handled that part yourself." A pause. Then, quietly, almost dangerously, "Do you really think anyone's going to want you after this? That's not your concern anymore," I said. Silence. Then, "You're not as calm as you think you are." "I'm calm enough," I replied. I hung up. That was the last direct conversation we had. 2 weeks later, Sandra asked to meet. Not a call. Not a message through someone else. A direct request. One sentence. "We need to talk in person." I ignored it the first time. She sent it again the next day. I gave her a place and a time, the same kind of restaurant we used to go to. Neutral ground. Public. When I walked in, she was already there. She looked different. Not broken, just smaller. Quieter. Like something had been turned down in her. I sat across from her. No greeting. "You wanted to talk," I said. She nodded. A waiter came. We ordered coffee. Nothing else. She looked at me for a moment before speaking. "This got out of control," she said. "No," I said. "It went exactly where it was going. You didn't have to post it. You could have just ended it. I did end it. You made it public. I made it accurate." She exhaled slowly. "You know what people are saying about me? My family, my job, everything took a hit." I leaned forward slightly. "Did you expect no consequences?" "It was a mistake," she said again. "I told you that. And I made a decision," I replied. She shook her head. "You're acting like I betrayed you completely." I held her gaze. "You did." Silence. The coffee arrived. Neither of us touched it. She spoke again, quieter now. "If I said I was sorry, would it change anything?" "No." She looked down. "So that's it. That's it." Another pause. Then, without looking up, she said it. "There was more than just a kiss." I didn't react. "I lied about that," she added quietly. "I didn't think it mattered anymore." "It doesn't," I said. "Not now." She looked up at me. "You already knew, didn't you?" "I knew enough." She nodded slowly. "I thought you'd fight for us." "I did," I said. "Just not the way you expected." She gave a small, tired smile. "By walking away." By not accepting less than what I agreed to. That landed. She sat back, quiet. After a moment she said, "You've changed." "No," I said. "I just stopped ignoring things." We sat there for another minute. No anger left between us. Just clarity. The flat, still clarity of two people who have said everything that needed saying and have nothing left to perform for each other. I stood up first. "Take care of yourself, Sandra." She didn't stop me. Didn't ask me to stay. Didn't reach for one more angle or one more reframe. She just sat there, hands around a coffee she hadn't touched, and watched me go. I looked at her one last time. I tried to feel something different. Something that hadn't already been resolved. But there was nothing left to interpret. Everything had already been said, and everything important had already been revealed long before this moment existed. I turned and walked out. Outside, the air felt colder than it should have. And that's when it settled. Not slowly, all at once. The full weight of it, landing clean and final. I wasn't losing a marriage. I was stepping out of one that never should have existed. People ask me sometimes whether I regret how I handled it. Whether the post was too much. Whether I should have confronted her privately first, given her the chance to explain, been the bigger person in the way people mean when they want you to absorb something quietly and call it dignity. Here's what I know. I didn't post that screenshot in anger. I posted it after 2 days of watching her walk around our apartment with complete confidence, showing me rooftop bar photos, laughing about her weekend, performing the role of the loyal fiancé with the ease of someone who had done it many times before. I posted it because the people who had bought dresses and booked flights and rearranged their weekends for our wedding deserved to know why it was canceled. I posted it because the truth, already out in the world for 10 seconds on a stranger's story, deserved to be permanent. She spent 2 years building something with me. She spent a weekend dismantling it. And she came home smiling, genuinely smiling, because she believed the evidence was gone. It wasn't gone. I had it. And I used it. The wedding is off. The apartment is mine again. The future I thought I was walking toward, the one with her in it, with the venue and the caterer and the photographer and the names we hadn't picked yet for children we hadn't had, that future is gone. But the alternative was worse. The alternative was a marriage built on a foundation she had already cracked. The alternative was a life spent with a woman who knew, deeply, practically, from experience, that she could do what she wanted and come home smiling and I would never know the difference. She was almost right about that. Almost. A marriage can survive a lot of things. Distance. Pressure. Mistakes made by people who are genuinely trying and fall short anyway. But it doesn't survive this. Not a decision made deliberately, in secret, with enough care taken to make sure the evidence disappeared before the husband could see it. It doesn't survive the smile on the way back. I walked out of that cafe into cold air, and for the first time in weeks, I breathed it in like it belonged to me. Because it did. All of it did. Thank you for watching.